On a chilly autumn morning in 2003, Officer David Chen sat at his desk in the downtown precinct, reviewing case files from recent domestic disturbances. The seasoned police officer of 15 years had seen his fair share of heartbreaking situations, but nothing could have prepared him for what was about to unfold. A call came in about an abandoned house on the outskirts of town. As he pulled up to the dilapidated structure, he noticed small footprints in the mud leading to a side entrance. Inside, he discovered 6 girls, ages ranging from 4 to 12, huddled together for warmth. Their clothes were worn thin, and their eyes carried a weight no child should bear. The girls had been left there by their mother 3 days ago, with nothing but a few candy bars and bottles of water. Their father had never been in the picture, and their mother, struggling with addiction, had finally reached her breaking point. The oldest girl, Anne, had been trying her best to keep her sisters calm and quiet, afraid that if they made too much noise, someone would separate them. Officer Chen's heart ached as he watched social services interview the girls. Each sister clung desperately to the others, their bond forged through shared hardship. As he listened to their story, a thought began to take root in his mind, one that would change not only his life but the lives of these 6 young souls forever. That evening, as he drove home to his empty house, the girls' faces haunted him. His wife had passed away 5 years earlier, and they had never had children of their own. The silence of his home, once a comfort, now felt deafening. He thought about his 3-bedroom house, with rooms that had remained unused for years, collecting dust and memories. Making his decision, Officer Chen began the process of becoming a foster parent. It wasn't easy. Single male officers weren't typical candidates for fostering 6 girls. But his reputation in the community, combined with his unwavering determination, helped him navigate the complex system. The girls moved in just before Thanksgiving. The transition was challenging, nightmares were common, trust was fragile, and the adjustment to routine took time. But Officer Chen approached each obstacle with the same patience and dedication he brought to his police work. He learned to braid hair by watching online tutorials, studied up on healthy meal planning, and transformed his home office into a cozy bedroom for the younger girls. The older ones shared the guest room, which he helped them decorate with bright colors and inspirational quotes. As the first month drew to a close, Officer Chen realized that his life had changed in ways he never imagined. The house was no longer quiet, it was filled with whispered secrets, occasional giggles, and the sound of small feet padding down hallways. This was just the beginning of a journey that would span decades, testing his strength, patience, and capacity for love in ways he never thought possible. The first year brought challenges that tested Officer Chen's resolve daily. Between his police shifts, parent-teacher conferences, and the endless cycle of laundry, meals, and homework help, he often found himself wondering if he was doing enough. But it was the small victories that kept him going. He remembered the first time the youngest, little Joy, fell asleep in his arms while he read her a bedtime story. For weeks, she had been too scared to let anyone touch her, but that night, she finally felt safe enough to let her guard down. The trust in her peaceful face made all the sleepless nights worth it. The older girls were harder to reach. And, now 13, carried the weight of responsibility like armor. She still woke up early to check on her sisters, making sure they were all there, safe in their beds. Chen would often find her in the kitchen at dawn, trying to make breakfast for everyone, just as she had done in their previous life. "You don't have to do everything anymore," he told her gently one morning, as he showed her how to make pancakes properly. "It's okay to just be a kid." Anne's hands trembled as she poured the batter, and for the first time, she let herself cry in front of him. They made breakfast together after that, creating a new routine that slowly helped her heal. The middle sisters, Rose and Linda, aged 9 and 10, struggled with school. Years of irregular attendance had left gaps in their education that felt impossible to bridge. Chen spent his days off working with their teachers, hiring tutors, and sitting for hours at the kitchen table, turning multiplication tables into games and spelling words into songs. The twins, Lily and Kate, age 7, were inseparable and selective mutes when they first arrived. They communicated through whispers and subtle gestures that only they understood. Chen learned to read their silent language, noting how they would tap twice on the table when they were hungry, or tug their earlobes when they felt anxious. One day, during a routine grocery shopping trip, Lily spoke her first full sentence in public. "Can we get strawberries, Dad?" she asked, then immediately covered her mouth, surprised by her own voice. The word "Dad" hung in the air between them, unplanned and unexpected. Chen had to excuse himself to the next aisle, overwhelmed by emotion. The community rallied around them in unexpected ways. Mrs. Lee from next door taught the girls to garden, helping them plant a small vegetable patch in the backyard. Officer Rodriguez's wife, a former teacher, volunteered to tutor the girls twice a week. Even the gruff captain at the precinct softened, adjusting Chen's shifts to accommodate school events and doctor's appointments. As winter turned to spring, their house transformed. Artwork appeared on the refrigerator, backpacks found their homes by the door, and 6 distinct personalities began to emerge from beneath the shadows of their past. Chen started a tradition of Sunday family dinners, where each girl took turns helping him cook, learning their grandmother's recipes that he had kept tucked away in a recipe box. They were becoming a family, slowly but surely, healing together through the ordinary moments that made up their extraordinary journey. But the road ahead still held many challenges, and Chen knew that trust, once broken, took more than just time to rebuild. As the years passed, Officer Chen discovered that raising teenage girls brought a whole new set of challenges. And, now 15, was entering high school, and her protective nature over her sisters had evolved into a fierce determination to succeed. She joined the debate team and student council, channeling her leadership skills into positive directions. One evening, while helping and with her college research, Chen found her staring at old family photos. "I remember when you found us," she whispered, tracing the frame with her finger. "I was so scared you'd just be another adult who'd leave." Chen sat beside her, realizing how far they'd come from that abandoned house. "I'm not going anywhere," he promised, just as he had countless times before. But now, she believed it. The middle sisters were blooming in their own ways. Rose discovered a talent for basketball, her previous timidity transformed into confidence on the court. Linda found her voice through writing, filling notebooks with stories about a family of sisters who could fly. Their teachers noticed the change. The girls who once hid in the back of the classroom were now raising their hands, asking questions, making friends. The twins, now 9, had developed their own secret garden in the backyard, turning the vegetable patch into a thriving space filled with flowers and herbs. They still communicated in their special way, but now they included others in their world. They taught Chen their own names for different plants, creating a private family language that made their bond even stronger. A turning point came when Joy, the youngest, won the lead role in her school play. The entire family sat in the front row, Chen beaming with pride as his usually shy daughter transformed into a confident performer on stage. After the show, as they celebrated with ice cream, Joy announced, "I want to take acting classes." It was the first time she'd asked for something just for herself, a sign of healing that brought tears to Chen's eyes. The house had become a home filled with the chaos of 6 distinct personalities. Bathroom schedules were posted on doors, the kitchen calendar was covered in different colored markers tracking various activities, and the living room had become a homework command center. Chen learned to navigate the complexities of teenage emotions, friendship dramas, and the delicate balance of setting boundaries while allowing independence. One particularly memorable Sunday dinner, as Chen watched his girls arguing playfully over the last piece of garlic bread, he noticed something profound. The shadows that once haunted their eyes had been replaced by light. They laughed freely now, shared their dreams openly, and most importantly, they had stopped looking over their shoulders, expecting everything to disappear. But life had more tests in store for their unconventional family. As Anne approached her senior year, questions about their biological mother began to surface. The girls had different ways of processing their past, some wanted to know more, others preferred to leave those memories untouched. Chen knew they would need to face these questions together, as they had faced everything else. That year taught Chen that being a father wasn't just about providing safety and stability. It was about helping his daughters navigate their past while building their future, about being strong enough to support them through their questions and doubts, and wise enough to know when to just listen. Their journey was far from over, but their foundation was unshakable. The question came during a routine Sunday breakfast. Joy, now 11, looked up from her pancakes and asked, "Dad, why did our mom leave us?" The kitchen fell silent. Chen had known this day would come, but preparation didn't make it easier. He looked at each of his daughters' faces, seeing different emotions reflected in each one. And, preparing for her college applications, gripped her fork tighter. Rose and Linda exchanged worried glances. The twins stopped their usual whispered conversation, and all eyes turned to Chen. He had spent years building trust with his girls, and now was the moment to prove that truth, even painful truth, was part of their family foundation. "Your mother was fighting her own battles," he began carefully, choosing his words with the same precision he used in his police reports. "Sometimes people we love aren't able to take care of others because they can't take care of themselves." He shared age-appropriate details about their mother's struggles with addiction, emphasizing that her choices weren't their fault. That conversation opened a floodgate. Over the next few months, each girl processed the information differently. And threw herself into volunteering at a local youth center, helping other kids from difficult backgrounds. "I want them to know they're not alone," she explained to Chen one evening, "just like you showed us." Rose and Linda started a journal together, writing letters to their younger selves and sharing them during family therapy sessions. The twins created art pieces expressing their feelings, filling their shared bedroom walls with colorful paintings that told their story through children's eyes. Joy asked for old photos, trying to piece together memories she was too young to fully form. Chen contacted social services to get updates about their mother's whereabouts. She had entered a rehabilitation program in another state. The girls had different reactions to this news, some wanted to write letters, others weren't ready. Chen supported each decision, reminding them that healing happens at its own pace. During this time, their bond grew stronger through unexpected moments. Like when the entire family spent a rainy Saturday building a massive blanket fort in the living room, sharing stories and secrets until dawn. Or when they all pitched in to surprise and with a graduation party, decorating the house with hundreds of paper cranes they'd learned to fold from watching online tutorials. The community continued to embrace them. Chen's fellow officers organized a fundraiser for Anne's college fund. Their neighbor, Mrs. Lee, taught the girls to make traditional dumplings, sharing stories of her own journey to find belonging in a new country. The local library created a special reading nook after Linda's story won a young writers' competition. One evening, as Chen helped Joy practice her lines for another school play, she suddenly hugged him tight. "I'm glad you found us," she whispered. The other girls, scattered around the living room doing homework, looked up and smiled. In that moment, Chen realized that while they couldn't change their past, they had built something beautiful from it. The questions about their mother would always be part of their story, but they weren't defined by them. Instead, they were defined by the love that had grown in their home, by the strength they found in each other, and by the future they were building together. Their family wasn't created by blood, but by choice, thousands of small choices made every day to love, to trust, and to stay. Moving in into her college dorm was a family affair that required 2 cars and more emotional strength than Chen had needed in his toughest police cases. The entire family helped carry boxes up 3 flights of stairs, with Joy insisting on carrying the lightest items while the twins worked in perfect synchronization to handle the heavier ones. As they arranged Anne's small dorm room, Chen noticed how his other daughters watched their oldest sister. Rose and Linda kept finding reasons to refold already folded clothes. The twins rearranged the desk supplies multiple times, and Joy sat on the bed, clutching Anne's childhood stuffed rabbit that she'd secretly packed in her own backpack to give to her sister. "You'll video call every Sunday after family dinner, right?" Linda asked, trying to keep her voice steady. Anne, who had been maintaining a brave face all day, pulled her sister into a tight hug. "Every Sunday, and text updates during the week. I'm only 3 hours away," she promised, though everyone felt the weight of this first separation. Chen watched as his oldest daughter, once a scared 12-year-old protecting her sisters in an abandoned house, now stood confident and ready to begin her own journey. She had been accepted with a scholarship to study social work, inspired by her own experience to help other children find their way home. The goodbye was harder than anyone expected. As the family gathered for one last hug in the parking lot, Joy burst into tears, setting off a chain reaction among her sisters. Even the twins, usually so contained in their emotions, couldn't hold back. Chen found himself reaching for his handkerchief, remembering all the moments that had led to this day. The drive home felt different. The empty passenger seat where Anne usually sat seemed to echo with her absence. But life had taught Chen that change, while difficult, often brought unexpected gifts. That evening, as the family gathered for dinner, Rose suggested they leave the video chat open on a tablet at Anne's usual place at the table. The following weeks brought new routines. The girls took turns sleeping in Anne's bed, finding comfort in maintaining their connection. Chen noticed how Rose, now the oldest sister at home, stepped into a leadership role with natural grace, helping the younger ones with homework and morning routines. Anne's first month away brought challenges and triumphs. Late-night phone calls about homesickness turned into excited stories about her classes and new friends. She'd found a study group of other first-generation college students, and was already volunteering at a local youth center. Chen could hear in her voice the same passion for helping others that he'd felt throughout his career. Back home, the family adjusted to their new dynamic. Linda discovered she had a talent for cooking and started learning Chen's recipes, determined to master them before Anne's first visit home. The twins started a scrapbook documenting daily life to share with their sister, and Joy wrote weekly letters filling 3 pages with updates about every detail of her days. One evening, while helping Linda perfect her grandmother's dumpling recipe, Chen received a text from Anne. It was a photo of her dorm room wall, covered with fairy lights and family photos. Among them was the newspaper clipping from the day Chen had officially adopted them, the day their chosen family became legal. Below the photo, Anne had written, "Showing my roommate where I get my strength from. Miss you all." Chen shared the photo at dinner that night, watching as his daughters' faces lit up with pride and love. They were learning that family bonds weren't weakened by distance. Instead, like the roots of a strong tree, they grew deeper and more resilient with every challenge they faced together. With Anne away at college, the dynamics at home shifted in unexpected ways. Rose and Linda, now juniors in high school, began to discover their own paths. Rose's talent on the basketball court had caught the attention of college scouts, while Linda's writing had earned her an internship at the local newspaper's youth section. One particularly busy morning, as Chen juggled making breakfast and reviewing case files, he overheard Rose explaining algebra to the twins in the same patient way he had once taught her. These small moments reminded him how far they'd come from those early days of uncertainty and fear. Linda's big break came when her article about growing up in a police officer's family went viral online. She had written about midnight calls, cold dinners reheated in the microwave, and the pride of watching her father put on his badge each morning. But most importantly, she wrote about second chances and the power of choosing your family. The story touched hearts across the country, though she had carefully protected their privacy by changing names and details. The twins, now in middle school, had developed into opposites that somehow perfectly complemented each other. Lily excelled in science, filling her room with rock collections and microscope slides, while Kate discovered a passion for music, teaching herself guitar using online videos. Together, they created science-themed songs that helped their classmates remember complex concepts. Joy, the youngest, blossomed in the school theater program. Her latest role as Scout in To Kill a Mockingbird moved the audience to tears. Chen sat in the front row every night of the performance, watching his once shy daughter command the stage with confidence. After each show, her sisters would present her with a single flower, a tradition they had started to show their support. The house remained as busy as ever, but now with a different rhythm. Weekly video calls with and became a family event, with everyone crowding around the computer screen, talking over each other in their excitement to share updates. And social work studies often led to deep family discussions about giving back to the community that had supported them. One evening, as Chen helped Rose fill out college applications for basketball scholarships, she paused and asked, "Do you ever regret taking all of us in? It must have been overwhelming." Chen looked at the wall of family photos that had grown over the years, holidays, graduations, ordinary moments that had become precious memories. "The only thing I regret," he replied, "is not finding you sooner." Rose's eyes welled up with tears as she hugged him, the scholarship essays temporarily forgotten. The family's story began attracting attention in their community. Local news wanted to feature them, but Chen and the girls decided to keep their privacy. Instead, they channeled the interest into supporting other foster families. The girls started a mentorship program at their schools, helping other kids from challenging backgrounds find their footing. That year's Thanksgiving dinner was particularly special. And came home from college, bringing stories of her internship at a youth center. The dining room buzzed with conversations about future plans, Rose's basketball scholarships, Linda's writing portfolio, the twins' upcoming science fair project, and Joy's drama club achievements. Chen looked around the table, remembering the 6 frightened girls he had found in that abandoned house. Now he saw 6 strong young women, each finding her own way to shine while keeping their bonds unbreakable. As the years rolled by, the Chen family's quiet influence in their community grew in ways they never expected. Anne's work at the youth center during college had inspired a new program pairing police officers with at-risk teens. Rose's basketball team started volunteering at local shelters, using sports to connect with kids who needed support. Their ripple effect touched more lives with each passing year. One spring afternoon, Chen received a call that brought his journey full circle. A fellow officer had found 2 young siblings in a situation similar to how he had found his girls. Without hesitation, Chen offered to mentor the officer through the fostering process, sharing the wisdom he'd gained over the years. The girls, now young women, took their experiences and transformed them into action. Linda's articles about foster care and adoption began winning journalism awards, though she always kept their family story private. Her words gave voice to countless others who had found hope in unexpected places. The Twin Science Music Initiative had spread to other schools, making learning fun for students who struggled with traditional methods. Their unique approach caught the attention of educational specialists, and soon they were helping develop programs for kids with different learning styles. Joy, still the family's bright spark, started a drama therapy group at her high school. She used her theater experience to help other teens express their feelings through performance. Chen would often find her in the backyard, helping younger students find their voice just as she had found hers. When Rose received a full basketball scholarship to the same university where Anne was completing her master's in social work, the family celebration turned into an impromptu community gathering. Their home had become a safe haven not just for them, but for anyone who needed a reminder that family comes in many forms. The police department's annual community picnic became an event where Chen and his daughters quietly helped connect foster families with resources and support. They didn't seek recognition, but their presence offered hope to others facing similar challenges. Other officers began seeing their role in the community differently, inspired by Chen's example of going beyond the call of duty. One evening, As Chen sat on their worn porch swing watching the sunset, Joy brought him a scrapbook she had been working on secretly. Inside were letters from people whose lives they had touched over the years, teachers who had witnessed the girl's transformation, neighbors who had been inspired to become foster parents, and kids who had found courage through their example. "We never set out to change the world," Joy said, sitting beside him. "We were just trying to be a family." Chen smiled, remembering all the small moments that had led to this one. The midnight conversations, the homework struggles, the basketball games, the science fairs, the school plays, each moment a thread in the tapestry of their lives together. Their story had never been about creating headlines or winning acclaim. It was about the quiet revolution that happens when love transforms wounds into wisdom, and fear into strength. As Chen looked through the scrapbook, he realized that their greatest achievement wasn't in the lives they had touched beyond their family, it was in how they had helped each other heal, grow, and believe in second chances. 20 years after that fateful day at the abandoned house, the Chen family gathered for a special celebration. Officer Chen was retiring from the police force, and his daughters had planned a surprise that would show him just how much his decision to take them in had changed not only their lives but countless others. The celebration was held in the community center wherein now worked as a social worker, specializing in finding homes for sibling groups who needed to stay together. She had become known for her ability to match children with families who could heal and grow together, just as she and her sisters had done. Rose, fresh from coaching her college basketball team to a state championship, had flown in early to help organize. She'd started a foundation that provided sports equipment and mentoring to foster children, believing in the power of teamwork to build confidence. The trophies in her office were secondary to the photos of smiling kids discovering their potential. Linda arrived with advance copies of her first book, a collection of stories about unconventional families that was already generating buzz in publishing circles. She had dedicated it to the officer who taught us that family is built with love, not just blood, though she still kept their personal story private, protecting the quiet dignity of their journey. The twins, now graduating college, had turned their science music program into an educational startup. Schools across the state were adopting their innovative teaching methods, helping students who learned differently find their path to success. They still finished each other's sentences, but now they were finishing theories about educational psychology and neuroscience. Joy, the youngest, had recently landed her first professional theater role while pursuing her degree in drama therapy. Her work with troubled teens had shown her that sometimes the greatest acts of courage happen off stage, in the everyday moments of choosing to trust and love again. As Chen walked into the community center, he was overwhelmed by what he saw. The walls were lined with photos, not just of his family, but of all the families they had helped over the years. Each picture told a story of hope, of second chances, of love that transcended circumstances. But the most touching surprise came when his daughters unveiled a new program they had created together, the Chen Family Second Chance Initiative. It was a comprehensive support system for single parents wanting to foster or adopt sibling groups, providing everything from legal assistance to emotional support, ensuring that no family would have to navigate the journey alone. "Remember how you used to say that love multiplies, it doesn't divide?" And spoke, her voice thick with emotion. "Well, look at how much your love has multiplied, Dad." She gestured to the room filled with people whose lives had been touched by their family's story, fellow officers who had become foster parents, teachers who had learned to see potential in struggling students, and families who had opened their homes and hearts to children in need. Chen stood surrounded by his daughters, each of them a living testament to the power of unconditional love and unwavering faith. He thought about that young officer he had been, standing in an abandoned house, making a decision that would ripple out in ways he could never have imagined. The scared girls he had found that day had become strong women who carried his legacy of compassion forward in their own unique ways. As Officer Chen's retirement celebration came to a close, his daughters had one final surprise that would showcase just how deeply their gratitude ran. They led him to the community center's garden, where a new building wing was under construction. There, Covered by a large cloth, stood something that would become their family's lasting legacy. 20 years ago, and began, her voice steady and clear, you showed us what it means to be brave enough to love. She nodded to her sisters, and together they unveiled a plaque that read, the Chen Family Center for Family Reunification, where siblings stay together. The new wing would serve as a safe space where separated families could reconnect, where social workers could work to keep sibling groups together, and where potential foster parents could receive training and support. The surprise didn't end there. One by one, Chen's daughters revealed their contributions to the center, and had developed a comprehensive training program for social workers specializing in sibling group placement. Rose's sports program would have a dedicated gym space where foster children could build confidence through athletics. Linda's writing workshop would help children process their experiences through storytelling. The twins had designed innovative learning spaces that catered to different educational needs, ensuring that no child would fall behind due to circumstances beyond their control. Joy's theater program would have a small performance space where children could express themselves freely and safely. But the most touching moment came when they showed their father the heart of the new center, a warm, homey room designed to look like their family kitchen, where so many of their own healing moments had taken place. We call it Chen's Kitchen, Joy explained, tears in her eyes. Because sometimes the bravest conversations happen over a bowl of noodles. The room would serve as a meeting space where new foster families could gather, where siblings could cook together during supervised visits, and where the community could come together to support one another. On the wall hung a framed photo of their first family dinner together, all those years ago, 6 scared girls and 1 determined officer, beginning their journey around a simple meal. As Chen looked around at his daughters, now accomplished women who had taken their past pain and transformed it into purpose, he remembered all the small moments that had led to this day. The midnight tears, the triumphant smiles, the quiet conversations, and the loud celebrations. Each moment had been a building block in their foundation of trust and love. Dad, and spoke, representing all her sisters, you didn't just save us that day. You showed us how to save ourselves, and now we can help others do the same. This center is our way of saying thank you, for every bedtime story, every school conference, every basketball game, every rehearsal, every science fair, and every moment you chose us. The Chen family's story had become more than just a tale of rescue and redemption. It had evolved into a beacon of hope, showing that family isn't defined by circumstances but by choice, the daily choice to love, to persist, and to believe in the power of second chances. Their gratitude wasn't just expressed in words or plaques or buildings, but in the lives they continued to touch, in the families they helped forge, and in the legacy of love they built together. As the sun set on that momentous day, Officer Chen stood with his 6 daughters, their arms linked together just as their lives had been linked by fate and strengthened by choice. Their journey had begun with a desperate situation in an abandoned house, but it had blossomed into something beautiful, a testament to the transformative power of unconditional love and the endless ripples of one brave decision to make a difference.